Good evening, everybody, and welcome to another Hops Geek News issue. I am one of your two co-hosts, Mash. Alongside me is the Hoppy Mommy. What is good?
Everything is good. I'm about 4 beers in, so it's
Y-
delightful. That nightmare
Yes.
fuel.
We are both drinking Nightmare Fuel from Pontoon Brewing. We'll get into that in a second. We are a podcast that discusses pretty much anything that you would see at a Comic Con, is the easiest way to describe it. Anything that has to do with geek culture, whether it be news, movies, TV shows, we discuss it all, and anything that has to do with it is our go-to. So you can find us, like us, subscribe on any sort of social media platform at Hops Geek News. Follow us at Hops News Thursday nights. You can catch us on Hoppy Hour. And yeah, so what we are drinking today is a Nightmare Fuel by Pontoon Brewing. Like I just said, it is a 6.5 Berliner Weiss from them.
Berliner Weiss.
If you caught us on any sort of, yeah, I'm a Pliny and a double IPA
Right.
in at this point. So I had my
We
first
don't
ever
usually don't
Pliny.
record after Hoppy Hour, but we also have to say it's also Mash's 30th birthday.
Yes, so we definitely don't ever record after a Hoppy Hour. Which again, if you caught
Or
us on
on your
Hops
30th
News,
birthday.
you'll see us on Hoppy Hour. We talk to breweries tonight. We talked to Western Collective. In the past, we
Awesome.
have talked to Pontoon Brewing, which is what this beer is from. It is a
Another awesome guy.
delicious cherries, raspberries, black currant, and lactose. They only have 4 beers on tap at their brewery because they can't keep their beer in stock. And I was fortunate enough to get us some Nightmare Fuel, which fits this episode perfectly because we are going to go into the news. We're going to talk about the boys season finale,
Oh my
but
gosh,
most
yeah.
importantly, we are going to talk about the Nightmare Before Christmas, which is a phenomenal movie. And yeah, we're a few beers deep, like I had said, and we never record like this. And it's also my
It's going to
30th
be the
birthday
best
today.
episode ever.
It is my 30th birthday today. I am starting to have that midlife crisis. At what point does a quarter life crisis become a midlife crisis? I don't know. Stay tuned for this episode because I might find the answer to that out.
There may be
Anyway,
crying, there
there
may
may
be
be
laughter. We don't
I
know.
if you caught us on our last episode, we did a little trivia action in which we won. No big deal, but Hops Geek News
Spoilers.
was the first ever Super Hop SmackDown champions of the world, where we defeated
Of the
the ever
world.
awesome dudes at Hop Heroes Pod, Jordan and Zach. We went. It came down to the wire. It was the final question. And Hoppy here, she luckily she knew what Shield was because I couldn't remember for the life of me what Shield was. She came through in the clutch.
Do you know what's funny though? Is Shield didn't always stand for that. Like I remember the MCU definition, and then literally like 2 days after this, my son was watching. He calls it Baby Spider Man. He was watching the baby whatever it is,
I have
and it
no
had a
idea.
different. It had it. I saw like espionage for the E. I'm like that should be enforcement. I won the other day. I should know. And so it actually used to have a different acronym. So but I think I memorized the acronym for Shield. For one, I always heard it, and you hear it repeatedly. Wow, we are a little drunk. We
This is gonna be a great episode.
in Iron Man, Colson's constantly saying it, and also I was wearing the Shield hat and everything. But
You
it's
were
strategic, homeland, enforcement.
escape,
No,
enforcement,
son of a bitch. No,
intervention.
intervention, enforcement, logistics division. That's what it
Yeah,
is.
I couldn't remember for the life of me, and it came down to the final question. We won the first round, we lost the second round, and then Hoppy pulled through, and we. So what happened was we ended up raising
By like
five
the
hundred
skin of our
dollars
teeth.
for the American Red Cross and the wildfires, and then if you've caught Hop Heroes, they did a pretty good shout out video to us. No big deal, we're the best. But yeah,
No, they're
we
awesome. I know. I think feel like we're always talking about how awesome they are. Like I was
yeah
even listening to them today, their old episode of The Boys, and like, well, and Jr. He brings such an amazing element to it because he's so knowledgeable, and he was the one that created the questions, and obviously he made them fair. If we were able to win by the skin of our teeth, he
yeah,
didn't
he
give them any
definitely made it
advantage.
fair. He works for Action City Comics, a really great comic shop. I follow them on Instagram, so if you want to check them out, they're up in Washington State. And he was our moderator. Poor Jr. He was the only sober one of the bunch. The rest of us, we were definitely intoxicated. I thought I was dying afterwards. I thought I was throwing blood up, but it was just pizza. But that's neither here nor there.
Who would have thought being a terrible chugger would be a benefit? Because I feel like I was way more sober than the three of you because I can't chug that fast.
Yeah, I
So
finished with the night
it
with
works out
9
well.
beers. I chugged way too well. I really opened my throat and chugged those beers. And I wish I hadn't. I really wish I hadn't because it was awful. We sat down to watch Casper and I was like, I can't sit here. I have to run to the bathroom like 8 different times. And I really had to make myself just rid
Well,
myself
we
of the
can
demons.
actually, from this terrible conversation, we can lead into what did you watch this week?
So
Because
yeah,
honestly, right
we
after we ended, I actually watched the finale of The Boys and the latest
oh
Supernatural.
look
We're
at
not going to talk
that.
about The Boys till
Yeah.
the end because it's still
We
new, but
spoiler alert, we will talk about the boys at the end to give everybody a chance. But we do like to go over what we have watched most recently. So what were you watching? I know you just mentioned Supernatural. What else?
mhm.
Or how
Yes,
was Supernatural?
Supernatural started back up for the last time ever. The episode it was more so a fun episode rather than a relevant episode to how they're going to wrap up the season, which is always it's always nice to see. Like, you would see it in Walking Dead occasionally, where you would have those moments where it was just nice to see the characters interact and almost be happy rather than seeing them deal with the stuff they're always dealing with. And obviously, you don't always want to see them be happy, or it would be a sitcom. So that was basically how they restarted it. It was interesting kind of watching it because you kind of knew like they recorded this during a pandemic kind of thing. So it was a little different.
Everybody's on a
Um,
Zoom call, but they're pretending they're not.
right. The green screen was amazing. But it was nice to have a live episode again, especially because we anticipated this 15-year series ending recently. And what was really cool is if you like Supernatural and you like beer, which if you're watching this, you should. And you
Yeah,
follow Family Business Brewing, which Jensen Ackles, I don't know if he funded it or runs it or whatever, but it seems like his brother in law is a brewer there. They both got Impalas to take home, Jared and Jensen. And there is a video on the brewery website of Jensen driving the Impala in front of the brewery, and it's beautiful.
damn.
So yeah, I was actually at the comic book shop today and started talking. They're like, "Did you?" I'm like, "Yeah, I saw that video."
Of course. Yeah. How do I
So
get one? I don't know.
right. I want that Impala and I want a beer there. That is Austin is on
I'll
my
just
to-do
take the
list of that.
beer. Yeah, Austin apparently has a really great beer scene. I've
Yes.
got some friends that live there and just following it through social medias, it
Right.
seems like
That's
my
the
kind of
king too.
I'm a hipster, so it's the hipster capital of at least Texas, if not the entire United States, and I can't wait to visit there someday.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they're definitely on my to-do list, and I've ran into more than one person that's had family business brewing paraphernalia on, and I stopped them. But I would say other than that, I watched that babysitter movie you recommended, and I thought it was terrible.
It wasn't look, you aren't going in for pure quality. You're going in for a dark comedy movie in which it's not awful, but it's nothing that's groundbreaking, much like Hubie Halloween, which I
I
watched and I can
watched Hubie Halloween
we
the
can
other
talk
night.
about that
It
in a
was
second.
exactly what you would expect. Hubie Halloween,
Oh,
the new Adam
absolutely.
Sandler movie. It was stupid. It was occasionally laugh aloud funny. But I did love the nods to his past Billy Madison movies. And I don't want to say the word
Yes,
because
yes,
honestly, they were
yes.
almost the best part of the movie. I mean, the second it started, we were like, ha 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 ha, this is from Happy Gilmore. So it
Yeah,
was that
yeah,
fun.
yeah, yeah. You're right, and we'll get into that in a second. I know it just came out, but The Babysitter wasn't a bad movie. I watched it when it first came out, and the second one's definitely not better than the first. The first was better, but I enjoy. I
So
guess
I
I just
probably won't
enjoy
watch the
shitty movies like
second.
that. So
Oh, I did
whatever.
watch Bly Manor as well.
Oh, I fell.
Haunting Haunting on Hill House, so much
We did
better.
finish Bly Manor. Well, we're 30 minutes away from finishing it, but I'll be honest, I went ahead since I fell asleep during certain portions and I looked up the ending of it and I wasn't so invested in this season. I know they're separate seasons, but this one wasn't as good as the
No,
first one. It
yeah, the
felt
first one
less
was
like a
amazing.
haunting movie and more of like a I guess a time travel. Like they hopped dreams, they did other things. Spoiler alert. There was dream hopping. There was other things that I didn't connect
Memory
with.
hopping.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there was a lot of like memories and
No, I yeah. I didn't like it, and if you haven't seen the last 30 minutes, the last episode's kind of bullshit.
Well, I know what
Not,
happens. I
yeah,
I,
but
I Wikipedia'd it myself.
but the ghost story, because of course with every haunting, there's got to be a story as to why the ghost is haunted. It was not nothing you would be surprised at. It was almost like a cliche. This is why she's, they wouldn't even have made this an episode of Supernatural. Like it didn't even deem worthy enough.
Well, it was so spoiler alerts. If you haven't watched, come back. So
Don't spoil
she
Hill House though, because Hill House is
no,
amazing.
Hill House is the better one. This one is more of like, two lovers. They were there. One dies by a ghost, and the other also dies, and so they're kind of haunting the kids, trying to take over their bodies. And
But that's not
then
even the main premise though. It's just
that's there's so much more to it, yeah, and we might just have to do an episode on it, but essentially, yeah. And then in the end she gives her life up because she gets possessed, and so the narrator is the girlfriend or the wife, whatever you want to call her, the entire time.
see,
And
like I know what you're talking about, and it still sounds confusing, but I know what
yeah,
you're.
we'll do an episode. We will do an episode. Give it a couple weeks to let people watch, if anybody even listens to this. And then we'll discuss it, because it was, I just didn't
Right.
connect with it, I guess.
Well, it is trending on Netflix, and like I've gone back and forth with some friends, and they're like, "Does it get better? Does it get scarier?" And we all had
Slow.
such high expectations because
Hmm.
Haunting on Hill House was amazing, and my daughter and her boyfriend were actually watching the Hill House one earlier, and I walked in, and I'm just like, I'm like jealous that they don't know what's going on.
Well, the main
Um,
actress, I can't remember her name, but she was great in it. She's great. She's,
yeah,
as an actress, she's
and she's in
phenomenal.
You. If anybody watches You,
Oh yeah, the stalker dude.
she's
I've
in
only
the
seen the
second.
memes, never seen the show.
Oh, it's interesting, but she's in the second season, and she takes you for a ride. I don't know how to
Hmm.
describe it any other way,
She's just a
but
great actress. Yes.
yes, she is amazing. So, what have you been reading or watching this week
Oh my
before
God,
we
it
totally ruin
is.
it?
Yeah, it is October. So that means literally if I'm sitting at the couch and there's a TV on, there's something spooky on. First of all, I've read Batman and Three Jokers, which right here, if you're watching our YouTube video, the artwork for this is amazing. It's written by Jeff Johns. Then you have Jason Fabok. I can't, if I pronounce that wrong, I'm sorry. And then Brad Anderson. Every issue, there's going to be 3 issues total. It comes with a cool card, essentially.
Oh, that's fun.
In the first issue, spoiler alerts, book one, it ended with Jason Todd killing one of the three Jokers, and then so you're kind of confused: is Joker cloning himself? Which it looks like in book two, yes, that is the case. Jason Todd gets captured by one of the Jokers. He's kind of getting his ass beat again, and they kind of stumble upon it. And so, some artwork from it. If you're watching this again on YouTube, the artwork is amazing.
Damn.
It kind of ends with them finding Jason Todd. He feels abandoned by Batman because, as we all know, Jason Todd got beaten to death by Joker with a crowbar, and basically they all thought he was dead. He didn't fully die. He kind of comes back crazy, comes back as the Red Hood. And so Barbara kind of just lets him know that, hey,
Huh.
Jason Todd finds her books from when she was shot. But in the Killing Joke, Barbara Gordon gets shot by the Joker. She gets paralyzed, and she has a bunch of like physical therapy books. How do you get through trauma kind of books? And he finds those in her room because they put him up in her room. And he's like, "Did these help you?" And she's like, "Yeah," and they still do, because I needed somebody, and I get it. We weren't there for you, but we're here for you now. And so it's kind of rectifying Jason Todd's craziness after he was killed by the Joker. And so it's a really great storyline. Like I said, it's only supposed to be, I think, 3 books. Not I can't remember when the next book comes out, but other than that, I picked up Darth Vader number 6 today. That is an amazing run. So it takes place after Empire Strikes Back. Luke finds out Darth Vader's his dad. Darth Vader, it's explained in the comics that
Wait, what?
yes, spoiler
Vader
alert,
is Luke's
Vader is
dad?
Luke's dad. Oh my God, Papa? Oh, where's the child support? Um, Vader lets him go, is how is explained. He kind of lets Luke go. And so after that, Vader's basically like, I'm going to go on a rampage of everybody who hid Luke. He only doesn't know about Leia yet. He goes on a rampage, like everybody who hid my kids from me, I am going to find. And so he ends up in Naboo. He finds the people who are guarding Padme's tomb. he kind of lets them go as well. He finds out the truth that like he remembers choking her out. He finds out that Obi-Wan was there in her final moments. She kind of died in childbirth. He finds
He
out
was their only hope.
yeah, he finds out that the emperor was been lying to him, and so he gets taken back, and the emperor basically was like, hey, I know you've been up to this bull crap kind of shady stuff on the side. You're weak. And so he starts to just zap the fuck out of Vader. He really zaps Vader up. He ends up cutting Vader's legs off. He cuts his arm off, basically reduces him to the way he found him on Mustafar. And then he takes Vader back to Mustafar and is like, you look, you're weak, and I'm going to build you back up, and either you'll survive or you die, and I will find another Padawan. And Vader at this point, because he's mostly machine, doesn't have the power to kill the Emperor like he originally planned to. And so he leaves him catching on fire on the bank that he found him on in Mustafar, and sends in some Sith assassin after him. And that's where it leaves off. And the next issue is not till like mid-November, but it's
Ugh.
really captivating. You kind of get, I don't know if they're trying to build the Emperor up because they brought him back in the latest sequel trilogy, which was just god awful, but I will leave that for a whole other day. Don't even get me started. Or not, but yeah, it's interesting to see that Vader finds out that the Emperor is just using him, and he kind of, you're looking into Vader's mind of, I really messed up. I made a big mistake turning on the Jedi and believing this lie when I could have been living fine. So really good, really good storyline. Highly recommend. I bought some other comics, The Amazing Spider-Man. Um, and one of the things I love about reading the old Amazing Spider-Mans was the fact that Stan Lee even admits in like the blurbs that I can't remember what issue I introduced this character in. You just got to go back and find it. So I find that funny. He's like, I
Yeah.
can't remember, man. Other than that, I've been binging like Friday the 13th. I'm up to part 7. Those movies are so cheesy, so god awful and cheesy. But
But
I
that's what
love,
almost makes them bearable because if they were too realistic, it's too much.
yeah, I live for the cheesiness. I love cheesy horror movies. So I've watched Friday the 13th. I've watched the original Nightmare on Elm Street, which is my personal favorite. Something
Is that
about,
one Freddy Cougar?
yes, Freddy Krueger, he takes advantage. I'm gonna put it lightly because I don't want to use the R word, just in case there's anybody listening who is offended by that. Um, he
Oh, we don't
basically
say
is
that
a
in the
child
UK.
predator. Um, and the parents find out and they kill him. Well, he comes into your dreams and he preys on like teenagers' dreams and kills them that way. And the only way to kill him is by bringing him back into the real world through your dream. And Johnny Depp, actually, one of his first appearances in the movie is from the original Nightmare on Elm Street. He is in that movie.
Really? I
It's
didn't
my
know that.
personal favorite because I watched it for the first time as a kid, so I was always afraid to go to sleep. I know we talked about Jeepers Creepers being the one movie that
Oh, we don't
scares
talk
me.
about that. That's enough. Nope,
That movie
we're not
scared.
talking
We'll
about it.
talk about these on movies. We'll talk about these next week when we talk about horror movies. But
But we won't be talking about Jeepers Creepers because
oh,
it's
that
not
movie
allowed in
scares
this
the
house.
shit out of me.
Nope. Mhm.
And we'll
Mhm.
we'll kind of discuss why. But yeah, other than that,
Nope.
I've watched Hocus
We're done talking
Pocus.
about it.
I've watched Halloween Town, which Halloween Town's a Disney movie, and then of course Nightmare Before
The worst
Christmas.
Halloween movie in the world.
Okay, Halloween Town isn't that bad. First of
It's
all,
god
it's
awful.
not quality, but again, I
It's
love shitty movies, so
my
whatever.
8-year-old wanted to put it on the other day, and I was like, you know what? I already did this with the older kids. I don't think I want to do it
I
again.
guess it's because my kids are finally discovering it. It's like this movie isn't great. It's awful, but
Mm.
whatever.
My kids are too spread out. There's some things I just have to never repeat, and Halloween Town's one of them. Well, I do love that the grandmother, she's very famous.
Yeah.
Leia's mom, and she's also
Yes.
the
Yes.
Singing in the Rain.
She's in a
Um,
lot of stuff.
she is,
And
yeah,
so
and
she
she's in
reduced
Will
herself
and
to these
Grace.
awful Disney Halloween Town
I can't
movies.
remember, was her name Deborah something? I'm sure we'll
God,
find
I
that out
can't remember her
she is
name. I
now.
will either get yelled at or I'll look it up and figure out my mistake next
Yeah,
week.
if my oldest comes out, I'll ask her because she did Singing in the Rain in middle school, and she was singing in the rain. I keep
Hmm.
doing this because that's what I think
The
of.
hand movement
But
singing.
I liked her. Oh, and the mom, I think it's April O'Neil from the Ninja Turtles.
I think you're
I'm pretty.
right. I'm pretty sure you're
Yeah,
right. And then the kids in the movie,
the
I want to say
movies
the
too.
oldest daughter is in some other stuff, but the movie's
Yeah,
not
I don't know.
quality. Halloween Town's not great, but yeah, we've
It's
watched
god
it for the
awful.
kids. Hocus Pocus is always a classic you have to watch. I have
Oh,
chickens,
it's amazing.
and we call our chickens the Sanderson sisters because there's 3 of them, and they always bob their head
Nice.
like they do when they walk. They're bobbing their head. And then they like come up to our back door and they're like bobbing their head like that. So my wife calls them the Sanderson sisters.
That's awesome. I love that.
But yeah, other than that, just what next week we'll talk about horror movies, and that's what I've been binging the hell out of because I love this time of year. Like I said, we're drinking Nightmare Fuel. It fits the theme. God,
I do too. It doesn't feel the same. I feel like I need to up the ante on the Halloween feels, but
we're having a Halloween party Saturday. I'm going as Hop Hogan, who you are all introduced to last
brothers.
week over the last couple weeks, and I'll get a full like I'm going in like a full what my character would dress as in a wrestling match. So that's going to be great. And it's just with people I work with. So it's not like a COVID risk because we're all on top of each other anyway. So I wouldn't invite anybody that we're not. But it's like a birthday / Halloween party, which I'm excited to have some sort of normalcy for those kind of guys.
Normalcy.
Yeah, normalcy, normal, whatever.
Normality.
You know what? There's some
All right.
normalness
You
left in
have
life.
all right. So my dad actually makes fun of me because when, a lot of times I mispronounce distribute because on the
Distribute.
Hops news. Yeah, I'm like distribute, and he goes. I was talking to him the other day. He goes, "You did it again." I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with me, but I want to hear all your
Like,
breaking news because you have all the breaking news.
yeah. Breaking news.
Da-da-da, da-da-da.
Oh man, where to start? So, first of all, if there's any Dexter fans out there, Dexter is returning to Showtime, Michael C. Hall himself, for a limited 10 episode run. This is all from IGN, where I saw it first. Um,
Oh, I've seen it multiple places, and
they're,
I've had
everywhere's reporting it now.
friends
It's
hit me
confirmed.
up.
It's
Yeah.
the director from the first or either the director or the writer from the first 4 seasons, which are the only 4 seasons that matter to anybody who watched the show Dexter.
I like the Lumen season though, and that was after season 4. I love
Uh,
Lumen. I love,
yeah,
love, love her.
but
Maybe I'm biased because she's the girl from Save the Last Dance, but I love
for there's
her.
only 4 seasons of Dexter, and so
We can agree to disagree.
the person who created the first 4 seasons, he's coming back to kind of write and direct this 10 episode limited run. Michael C. Hall's coming back. Hopefully, they kind of retcon the fact that he's a fucking lumberjack because that was such like,
Okay, so
oh
when that episode ended, I was like, I'm literally watching this. I think I even posted on Facebook. I'm like, so he's Wolverine. He's living in
yeah.
the woods in Canada, pretending nobody knows him, and he's a freaking lumberjack.
He's first of all he's hitting on like him and his stepsister were like in love or something. That was
No, it was
weird.
adopted sister, so there
Okay,
was no blood. Well, I guess step
nonetheless,
there would be no blood.
nonetheless, yeah,
Creepy.
weird. It's just weird. And
And then
then
when he dumped her body,
just dumps her in the middle of the ocean. And it's like,
well,
all right.
I think it was symbolic because remember the last season, she killed LaGuardia or
Yeah.
LaGuardia. And so I felt like they were trying to go for maybe symbolism because she had murdered somebody that didn't deserve to die. So she belonged with his other victims. But
Yeah, that makes sense.
I still hated it though. I still
I
hated
didn't
it.
like it
Hated it.
because
Yeah.
first of all, I didn't like that they made her out to like be his love interest because they've always been brother
Yeah, it's
sister,
creepy.
adopted or
Hmm.
not. Like, come on, man. I get he's a murderer and all that, but like, dude,
I
draw the
mean,
line somewhere.
but you could argue it's a Barry Iris situation, but I felt like they were too,
I
I don't
never
know.
felt that. Like I felt that
Right,
more
right.
here in Dexter, but I never felt that. I guess it's because knowing the fact that Barry and Iris were always meant to be together in the Flash, I guess I never felt
But they
that.
are similar in that way to where well, you think Dexter was a little bit younger when he was adopted, but
Yeah.
Deb was the biological daughter and Dexter was adopted.
Yeah.
I don't know. I love Dexter, but I
I do
freaking
too.
hated
Nobody
that
likes the
season
last season.
finale. Well, my no, but my husband always says he's like, I think part of the reason it was so awful was it ended right around when Breaking Bad did, and Breaking Bad ended so beautifully that it almost
So
made Dexter look worse. Like they ended within, I think,
yeah.
like a month of each other.
Well, I know the Dexter
Still, it was terrible.
subreddit was at one point that they did what Arrow did when Arrow was bad, where Arrow subreddit turned into a Daredevil subreddit, and so Dexter turned into a Breaking Bad subreddit where they only talked about Breaking Bad on the Dexter subreddit. If you're familiar with Reddit, there's different
Mm.
subreddits where you can talk about whatever. And so yeah, Dexter's turned into a Breaking Bad. But yeah, I personally never got into Breaking Bad. But I do know it was kind of,
What?
yeah, I never got into Breaking Bad. Bryan Cranston was amazing in it. I watched
Well,
the
now
first
you
couple seasons and that was it.
what what? You have to keep watching it.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it.
The first two seasons are a little bit slow, but you have to keep going. You have to keep going. You have to watch it. You don't have you have to. You have to.
Sometimes you
It's
don't have to
Breaking Bad.
finish every time, okay?
But Breaking Bad, you do.
I guess. Anyways,
You have to. So,
we have Marvel
January
news.
1st, we're doing a Breaking Bad episode. So you better be up to
I'll
date.
Wikipedia or Google Notes or Cliff
Nope,
Notes.
nope.
This is
I'm gonna
how I
ask
got through
some
high
random
school all those
questions.
days ago. Is I literally never read anything. I just
I can't believe you
looked it up.
hadn't finished Breaking Bad.
Yeah,
Okay. So
never got
yes, your
into it.
next news after Dexter.
Yeah, we've been starved for Marvel content. The last Marvel movie to come out was last summer, and
Oh,
so now,
terrible.
fun fact, we have Thor. According to Hollywood Reporter, Thor: Love and Thunder is going to begin filming in January. Natalie Portman has mentioned how she wants to be absolutely insanely ripped for this role. I hope she is. I'm excited. There's some storylines. I know there's some spoilers. How I mentioned to you the other day, that one of the storylines, spoiler alert, is she has Jane Foster has cancer, and so she
I
becomes
think we all
Thor.
know that one though.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
Jane Foster becomes has
that was
cancer.
years ago.
She becomes Thor, and as long as she's Thor, she doesn't die of cancer. Well, at the end, she gives up the Thor mantle and she dies. And so I'm kind of curious if that's the role they're going to go, because we haven't seen Jane Foster since the Dark World, and even then they didn't
Yeah.
do her justice. So
Mm.
I hope at least this time we get some badass Natalie Portman mixed with a proper dose of Chris Hemsworth, because that whole Thor character just got revitalized once Taika Waititi took over.
Mm. But we want Thor back in shape.
Also, yes, I don't want depressed Thor, which I think we got over because Thanos is now gone. So I'm hoping Thor is like his chiseled Greek god self,
Here's hoping.
Norwegian god. I hope so. In addition to that, Falcon and the Winter Soldier has resumed filming in
Yes.
Prague.
And the
Um,
comic book is finally back.
oh, the comic book's back. I
It
gotta pick that up.
finally, like, I went today and I was like, and my guy's like, oh, I don't even think they come back since COVID. Finally, they stopped.
They're back.
I think this is the third. This is the third freaking one because they started in
Damn
like
it.
January.
I need to. I
And
didn't see it at all at my comic shop. I need to see that. Ooh,
if you're watching on YouTube, a gorgeous picture of Chadwick Boseman.
yeah,
All the Marvel stuff though, it says rest in power. It
it
just every time you look
does.
at the year he was born though, it's just he's just too
he
fucking young.
was he had just broken out in the movies, and I still can't get over it because he was a phenomenal actor.
Right?
um there was a picture taken, I guess it was last December. um they're teaming up. Well, it's not confirmed, we don't know, but it looks like they're teaming up with Zemo in some sort of fight, um which kind of leads
No,
credence.
Mega Red. What?
Well, there are rumors that Omega Red is going to make an appearance in some fashion in one of these shows as the first mutant in the MCU. It's all a
Sorry, I
rumor.
went ahead and read your notes.
No,
I didn't mean to
yeah.
spoil it. That's exciting.
Apparently, yeah, Omega Red might be in this, or they might have another big bad guy. We're not totally sure yet. WandaVision is another one that has started to film again. They're still saying 2020
They
for
should be done
release
then.
date. They released Funko Pops this week. They're official Funko Pops of WandaVision. One of them, Wanda's pregnant. There's a couple black and white versions of each character, things like
How
that.
does what?
Yeah,
He's not
so
even a human.
in the comic books, Wanda
I
and
know they
Vision
got
have
married in the comic.
kids. Well, they have kids in the comics. How that works, I honestly could not tell you. She is a mutant. He is a robot. I don't know how
I
his
guess
juice
Infinity Stones
mixes.
or something.
I don't know. Look, it's comic books. That's all we know.
Right, right.
But yeah, in the Funko Pops that have come out, she is pregnant, and so the trailer that just came out like a month ago, there it looks like they're going to go through different time periods, and she might be the main villain because she's kind of lost her mind after Vision was killed by Thanos. So
Right.
we'll see where that goes. Um, I'll use Spider-Man. There's a lot of news from Spider-Man. Apparently, it also began filming this week. Doctor Strange is rumored or confirmed to be the the big person. He's going to basically be Tony Stark. I feel like he's going to be showing up in a lot of these. He's going to be the leader of the Avengers, and so he's showing up in this movie along with Electro. They might be setting up a Sinister Six film. And then the big rumor, which maybe people are hinting that Jamie Foxx accidentally leaked, was the fact that Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield are going to be showing back up. I don't like it. Do not like it.
Yeah, I
What
don't
are your
know.
thoughts?
I, pardon me, I always want to be like, oh, I trust the MCU. They've done everything amazing. But then you have like Inhumans. So it's like, I don't know. I feel like with DC, we're excited about the whole multiverse thing because
Yeah,
they haven't done things so well. So it's exciting to see them bringing in other things to kind of hype everything up. But I feel like the MCU's just been so perfect and so well done that bringing in past things, I don't want to say failures because I mean, those were great movies for their time other than Venom and
God, I
Electro.
fucking hate Venom.
But I don't know. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's like I don't want to judge it beforehand. Like I had a friend that was adamant that Ant-Man was not going to work, and I kept saying, "Well, Ant-Man's one of the original Avengers. He needs to be in there." And then when
Yeah,
the footage came out, he was like, "Holy shit, this is amazing." So I mean, you don't know what they're gonna do. I do trust the MCU. Occasionally they fuck up and have a show like Inhumans, but I don't know.
I don't like it. I think that we haven't seen Spider-Man grow into his own yet. You see in the
Hmm.
first Spider, so he's so reliant.
Which I like.
Yeah, so he's so reliant on Tony Stark. Where you see in Far From Home, he needs Tony Stark's tech to build his own suit. He's the Iron
But he's also
Spider.
16. I mean,
Agreed,
he
but
was
that's what
what,
makes him amazing. Is he's
so
like this boy
little.
genius in the comic books. Is he's this
Well,
boy
being a
genius.
genius though, and having the mentality to be able to process things properly and have that moral compass is very different.
Yeah, I guess the beauty of Spider-Man to me is that he's like this innocent kid who just wants to make his
Right.
city better. And you've kind of lost some of that. Like when he's fighting against Vulture, it's Peter Parker versus Vulture, and that's where he has to kind of think outside the box. And I love that. Far From Home, it was a good movie, but I didn't like that they relied so much on Iron Man because you have Mysterio was another villain made by Iron Man. He relies on Iron Man's tech at the end to,
Yeah.
and so I would love to see where it's Peter Parker becoming Spider-Man. He grows into his own, so to speak. And you see New York City that Spider-Man's known for, and you don't get a lot of that. And so now that we're going to team up with these other Spider-Men and Doctor Strange, and like you said,
So
I don't
I
know.
have a I have a random question though. So we have all these mutants that we have come up with ways that they're not mutants, like Mysterio. Do
Right.
you think with the fact that mutants are allowed now in the MCU that they're going to change any of that? I mean,
Hmm.
like
We're gonna
Mysterio is
see
a
mutants.
great, but like
Yes.
Mysterio is a great mutant, but they
Yeah.
relied on the technology. So do you think they'll change any of that though? Like come
I
up with like
think that with Doctor Strange and the multiverse of madness, we are gonna see they're gonna mess up the timeline. They're not the timeline necessarily, but they're gonna between the
that's where we get King
snaps.
the Conqueror.
Yeah, between the multiple snaps that we saw from Thanos and the Avengers and Doctor Strange and Wanda messing with the multiverse, I think this is how we're going to get mutants. And there's going to be some sort of retcon. There's going to be something where we're going to see mutants kind of pop up out of nowhere. I trust them to introduce it properly. So that yeah, I think that's a because like yeah, I think the technology works with Mysterio, so I don't think they're going to retcon him as a mutant. But I think going forward, we're going to see a lot of villains kind of take over these weird mutant more. They're going to lean more into their
Right.
supernatural powers.
Maybe it'll be like Deadpool, where it's like with Quicksilver and Wanda, where oh we experimented on them and they were able to handle it because they were mutants. So
Yeah,
I wonder if because that was the whole thing with
that'd
Deadpool
be
in
a
the
good
show.
idea. I know. I hope
So
so. I hope they do it right. Um,
and we're
aside
allowed to
from
say adamantium now, right?
we can. I can't wait till the internet breaks when we figure out who's playing Wolverine. That's going to be the day the whole
Nobody,
entire world.
nobody, unless it's you,
It's gonna
Jonathan. I'm
happen.
gonna
It's
burn
gonna
your
happen.
fucking house. I'm gonna burn everything down.
It will happen, and we
God
will get a
damn
new
it.
Wolverine. So we'll
Nope,
be
it's
waiting
got
for
to be
that.
Dankin or Laura. It can't. No, no,
Yeah.
no. You can't do it. Nope. Just no. So next news.
Moving on from Marvel to DC, we have a live action Green Lantern series coming to HBO Max. There's going to be stories told in
Oh,
hour-long increments, and it's going to be spanning decades, all that kind of stuff, different galaxies. There's going to be more than just one Green Lantern. So yeah, the famous ones are Hal Jordan, John Stewart, but this is going to like there are new ones that are taking place and there are old ones. So we don't know the full scope yet, but it's going to be huge. And I think Green Lanterns kind of works, the Green Lantern Corps, I should say, works better as a spanning different timelines and stuff because there's so many of them. There's a lot of stories to tell.
have they cast anyone for that? Do you know?
Not yet, to my knowledge. It's just all they're starting to like boot it up, and so we
Okay.
might see something the end of next year. There might be DC fandom's going to take place again next year, so they might announce more things then if they haven't started filming yet. But there's going to be a lot of Green Lantern, which Green Lantern, the only one we've been stuck with is Ryan Reynolds. I love Ryan Reynolds, but come on, that movie is awful. So
Right.
let's hope they kind of do
And
it
he, I
justice.
mean,
He's a space
even
cop.
what? But I mean, like what? Deadpool didn't he shoot himself in the head when he was
Oh yeah,
making the
please no no CGI green suits.
right? Oh my
Um,
God. But
yeah,
at the same time, I feel like that. Yeah, Hal Jordan deserves more respect in a way
yeah,
than
Green Lantern
without it. Yeah.
in general, I should say, because it's not it's cheesy, but there's space cops, and so there's a lot of stories to be told there. There's more than
Space
one.
Cop.
They are. That's what they are. They take care of the galaxy. You know.
Right.
Um, Aside from that, Ewan McGregor, according to entertainmentweekly.com, has announced that the Obi-Wan show is going to be filming in March. We don't know any other details, whether it's going to be, I think it's going to take place obviously in as he grows old after episode 3, and then he's going to grow old into the old Ben that we knew and loved, maybe not loved in A New Hope, but it starts filming in March. I don't know.
Wow.
I'm excited. Finally, Ewan McGregor,
I love Ewan
he's
McGregor.
yeah, he's Obi-Wan Kenobi, and I want to see, I've always wanted to see the moment that Obi-Wan finds out that he did not kill Anakin on Mustafar, because I feel like that's gonna be such a heartbreaking scene. And if it's anything like the part where Ewan told Anakin that he was his brother and all that, it's I'm gonna cry. That's just how that's gonna go.
Wait, that he told Anakin he was his
End of
brother?
episode 3 when he's like, "You were my brother, Anakin. I loved you," and then Anakin's like,
Oh, okay. Like
"Ah."
metaphorical brother.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
yeah, yeah, yeah.
that. That
I remember
that's
that. I'm
like,
like, wait a minute, did I miss something? Okay.
no, that's gonna. Oh, that's a scene I've always wanted, because Ewan's a fantastic actor, and then just to kind of
Mm-hmm.
get some depth into what he was doing all those years, that's going to be really great. So I can't wait to see what happens kind of with that. If it's anything like The Mandalorian, which starts up in 2 weeks, we're in for a real
Holy
treat.
shit.
Yes, October 30th, Mandalorian is starting. We've only had the one trailer so far, which I
Right.
think is
I'm
all
not
we
watching
need.
it till November 1st, though. It's Halloween until November 1st.
Oh yeah, I probably won't either. I will say for my birthday, I got their damn, I forgot the ship's name now. I'm awful. But I have a Lego collection, and I got the ship with baby Lego Yoda as a birthday present. So I can't wait to put that bad boy
Oh,
together.
so shout out to Tracy. She got the Tracy, and anybody's watched Hop Snooze, is a friend of mine who also sends Mash amazing beer.
Send me a
She
lot of
has
stickers too.
the child baby Yoda that like talks now, I
Yeah, I
think.
saw that on her Instagram. I was like, holy shit, I need this. She sent me, shout out to Tracy again. She sent me a bunch of baby Yoda stickers with brewery
Right.
stickers that I just got the other day.
Yeah, she's obsessed with Baby Yoda, even though she's never seen anything Star Wars.
I
Okay,
mean,
moving
it's
along.
cute.
So, what else is your news? Because you have
Um,
lots more news
yeah,
still.
there's some boys news which I will save till we talk about the season finale. We got some more set photos. The Batman has begun filming again. They pushed the release date back to 2022. That sucks
Mm.
because then it'll actually
Is
have
it going
been
to be October?
I don't know. I think so, potentially,
Because
because
you
they
mentioned
wanted.
it was a Halloween.
So it's going to take place similar to the Long Halloween, in that sort of vein. It's going to be 10 years since we had a Batman movie. I know that the last Batman movie actually came out when I was in basic training. It was, Bane, all that kind of stuff. The Dark Knight Rises. So it'll have been 10 years. These set photos we saw uh Cobblepot, which does not look anything like
No.
Colin Farrell. The makeup is amazing.
Right.
We saw John Turturro's Carmine Falcone. We saw Selena Kyle, which is Lenny Kravitz's daughter. I need to put more respect on her name because it escapes me at
Isn't
this
she the one
moment.
from X-Men First Class?
Yeah, she's in a few movies and she's a great actress. That much I do know. And so she's playing Selena Kyle. You see emo Robert
Nice.
Pattinson, and you kind of get a close up of Batman's stunt double. The picture going around right now is Batman's stunt double in the Batman outfit, but wearing a robe because he's just waiting to film. But you get like close ups of the suit, and it's like it's a year one Batman, so you see like potential like maybe claw marks on his mask. It's like a leather mask. You
Mm.
see the stitching. The suit looks really great. So there's set photos of that came out. That's going to be out in 2022. Wonder Woman 84. Who the fuck knows when that's coming out, if ever. Um, there's a Dr.
Right.
Robotnik potential spinoff with Jim Carrey. Did you see Sonic? Did you see the Sonic movie that just came out?
I didn't. I need to. It
Ooh.
looked good, and I haven't seen it.
So I've seen it a couple times. I got to give a shout out to James Marsden because that man, he was
I love
Cyclops,
him.
but he's
Hmm.
played in such shitty movies ever since then to where
He was in Westworld. I like,
he was. He's a great
instead of
actor,
getting
but he
murdered.
picks like these really awful choices for movies.
And he's the Easter Bunny. If you've ever seen
Wasn't he? Yeah, so he's in the
Hop.
Easter Hop. He's in Hop. My kids love that movie. They love
Hmm.
Sonic. He's in that movie. Really cheesy. It's not a bad movie. Sonic's not bad. Jim
What
Carrey is
else is
Jim
he in?
Carrey.
I can't think of anything else
Wasn't
he's
he
in.
in Enchanted? With
Yes.
yes, he was in Enchanted.
Oh yes, he plays the cartoon prince. I love
Yes,
Enchanted. The most underrated Disney movie ever.
it's great. Amy
Enchanted.
Adams. Isn't that
Yes.
Dr.
I've
McDreamy?
been
McDreamy's in
dreaming
it.
of
If
a
you've watched Grey's
chance.
Anatomy,
Yes.
Patrick Dempsey, that's his name.
And
Um,
Elsa is actually in it from Frozen. And so she's actually a Disney queen and a Disney princess
oh, two
because
timing.
she ends up marrying James Marsden, who is a cartoon prince. So yes, so
Oh,
she
a
is
little bit
probably
of
the only person
crossover.
who is a Disney princess and a Disney queen.
I need
So
to look that up.
kudos
That's
to
actually
her.
interesting. She's a princess and a queen, which Elsa
And
becomes a has to
John
become a queen,
Travolta
right?
knows how to say her name for sure.
Oh God,
Dina
John Tra-
Menzel.
John Travolta. Ugh. Oh
He
boy,
was the one
that
that
guy.
butchered her name, right?
He
Okay,
fell off
so
a cliff. But yes, so Dr. Robotnik potential spinoff is in the works. The end of Sonic,
nice.
you kind of see him in his he's he looks just like Dr. Robotnik from the video games. Jim Carrey really hams it up, but he's really great in that movie. I love Jim Carrey. I know he's gone through a lot of stuff, so it was really great to see him back.
He's also great as
Um,
Joe Biden.
yes, if you watch Saturday Night Live, he is Joe Biden. Which shout out to my man Bill Burr last week. I know there's some controversy from his monologue, but the controversy was kind
Why
of
though? His monologue was
so
fine, I thought.
yeah. But if you go to like the Twitterverse and all that, he proved his point because you had all these like middle-aged white women that came out and they were basically like, I'm so offended by this, proving his point that they
I
have to
think I'm a
hijack everything.
middle-aged white woman.
Yeah,
Am I a middle-aged white woman? I think I might be.
I guess you might be, but you don't
I was
hijack.
not
You don't
offended.
hijack everything though. Whereas at
Bill
least
Burr is really
Karens,
funny. I
I
like
love Bill
him.
Burr.
Yeah.
I thoroughly. It was funny actually. I told you guys in our group chat today how I was talking to this. I was on a medical appointment over the phone for my job, and the podcast that somehow came up. I don't know how it came up, but it was Bill Burr's Monday morning podcast, and he was
Right.
talking about Manscaped, and he was talking about shaving his balls. And I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. As I'm on the phone, this poor lady.
Right.
Um,
No, I'm having a hard time realizing I never realized I was a middle-aged white woman. I'm having a hard time
oh
with
god,
this.
I was talking about my quarter life to midlife crisis. Now she's Hoppy's full on more midlife crisis now. All of a sudden,
No, not midlife
she's staring off
crisis.
into
Middle-aged
the.
white woman. That's some
She's
serious shit
Hoppy's
right
a middle
there.
aged white woman.
But
She
I
drinks
will
pumpkin
on your
spice.
not as much as you do.
I'm a middle aged white
Um
woman. Jesus.
but no, I remember when I was like 19 or something, probably maybe 18, I was like leaving my dad's and I started my Toyota Tercel. And like, my dad's saying goodbye to me. And as I put it on, I have a CD and the CD player because we used to listen to music on
Yes, we
CDs and
did.
it
We
was
made
Nelly.
mixtapes on CDs.
And as soon as I started the car with my dad standing there, It's right at the part where it says, "Do me like you should, fuck me good, suck me good." And I'm just like, so when you text that earlier, that was the first thing I thought
Lauren,
of.
what are you listening to? My
Mm,
God.
I don't know. This is
I
the
don't know,
video.
Dad.
I
It's
can't
just
believe
this.
they would put this
My
on there.
God, why would they uncensor something like that? These late night talk show radios, they have
Just
nothing.
terrible, terrible. As Berkey would say, terrible.
That's just terrible, man. You know what's not terrible is I played these games. These games scared the shit out of me as a kid. I was not allowed to play them. But Resident Evil has a there's like 6 Resident Evil reboots in the making.
I've
But
never
there's a
seen any of
movie
them.
that's in the making. I love
Wait,
Resident
Robbie
Evil.
and Mel again?
Yes.
Dude's
So,
everywhere.
comic book resources. You have the Resident Evil reboot movie, not to be confused with all the other Resident Evil reboots. The director is Johannes Roberts, and you have starring Maze Runners, Kaya Scaladarios. I'm sorry if pronounced that wrong, but she's playing Claire, who is one of
Sounded
the
good.
she was one of like the main characters in the original Resident Evil video game. You have Hannah
Scolarios.
John Kamen from Ant-Man and the Wasp as Jill Valentine. Robbie Amell. Shout out to Robbie Amell. He's literally in a lot of stuff.
He was
He's a
even in the babysitter. That's like the
he's
third
in
thing
both
we've talked about.
babysitters.
Yeah.
He's in a lot of things.
What?
He is Stephen Amell's cousin. They are both beautiful human beings. Um, but he's
Stephen
playing
Amell is
Chris
better.
Redfield, which is the brother to Claire Redfield. Tom Hopper as Albert Wesker, Avon Jogia, oh god, from Zombieland 2 as Leon, which Leon's like a cop.
Oh, I
He's
need
one
to
of the
watch
main
that.
cops from Resident Evil video games. He kind of gets stuck behind a Raccoon City. And then Neil McDonough, who you may know from Legends of Tomorrow and like literally every other movie ever made because he's phenomenal in anything that he is. But he's playing William Birkin. In Resident
Oh, is
Evil,
that the
it's
older dude that's part of
old white guy.
Firestorm?
Yeah.
Yeah, from
No,
like
no,
year
no, no, no,
one.
no. He's not part of Firestorm. You're thinking of the captain from Titanic. No, Neil McDonough played the bad guy.
Captain from Titanic.
No, Neil McDonough played the bad guy. He plays a bad guy in a lot of it. So he's in Walking Tall. He's like
So
you
he's
know
not
what he's
a
from.
howling commando, is he?
Yes, he is.
Oh,
Yes,
okay,
he
yeah, yeah.
is.
Damien Dark.
Yes, that's what it is.
Okay.
So yeah, he's in a bunch of stuff. He's amazing everything he does. Great actor. But Resident Evil takes place in a fictional city called Raccoon City, and there's the Umbrella Corporation. They release something that turns everybody to zombies, and there's also other creatures that are super zombies essentially. And so
Terrible.
yeah, it's a great video. There's a ton of video games out. They've been going on since I was like 6 years old, so 20 years almost. Um, and we got the movies with God, her name escapes me now, and her husband was the director, but there were awful movies that didn't follow the video game. So these ones are going to be great. And like I said, there's a bunch of these in development, or like Netflix is doing a TV show. So I'm excited for these. Um, it's going to be a playoff of the first 2 games, kind of an origin story, and so we'll see where the zombies came from, and hopefully get some really good video game adaptation. Um, and then my last piece of news, Marvel's Modoc. There was a Hulu trailer released, and it's in the style of like claymation type style.
So you gotta
And
explain who he is though, because I feel like a lot of people who just watch the movies have no idea who he
yeah,
is.
so Modoc, he was just most recently in the Avengers video game as the main villain. He's like this floating head is the easiest way to kind of put him. Um, oh
But he's
man,
also, isn't he the dude that's yeah, he's the one you see in the floating head, and you do see him a lot. Even
yeah.
if you know, like I was at Universal last week, and they have the comic book character. But isn't he also the dude that
He's
was like Red Skull's right hand man?
Yeah, so he was a former employee of AIM, which is Advanced Idea Mechanics. They're basically an
Which you
arms
know them
dealing
from Iron Man.
organization. Yes, you do see them in Iron Man. They're the main villain in the Avengers video game that was just out. They deal in futuristic weaponry. He goes through some sort of mutant type medical experimentation. It was supposed to increase his intelligence. However, it overdeveloped his head. And so he's like this floating head in a chair. Yes, he has extremities, but he's like this giant head in a chair. He rebels against his masters, who, and then he takes control of AIM. His first appearance was in the Silver Age of comic books, and he's been in the Marvel rotation for 4 decades now. He's been in a ton of stuff. He's really smart, super villain. He shows up in a lot of different comic books. He becomes a reoccurring villain for Captain America, who he battles on 3 different occasions, which the last encounter is reveals Modoc's origin story, and he also battles Namor and Doctor Doom.
Ooh,
So he
nice.
pops up a lot. He battles with the Hulk because he kidnaps Betty Ross. Um, yeah, he's kind of all over the place, and AIM is like these advanced robotics, and he can kind of
Right.
control mind. So it's
See, I thought
interesting.
he though was I could be totally wrong, but I thought he was like his human incarnation in the movies because obviously they're not going to just have a floating head. I
No,
guess they would.
well
I guess
they
they could
could
do a
now.
raccoon now, but that he was the dude that was like oh, I guess I'm thinking of Zola. I thought he was supposed
Oh
to be like
yeah, you're thinking of
similar.
Zola. I guess they could have made him
Yeah.
similar, but no, he's an
I might be
employee.
completely
They
off.
could still show Modoc. He could appear at some point. I don't know that they will because they've used him in the video games and now a TV show, but
Hmm.
who knows? Um
He
yeah.
always reminds me of Shredder. Remember the brain and the like? Do you remember the old Ninja Turtle
Yeah,
cartoons?
of course everybody knows Shredder. I was just watching Batman
And then you would
versus
have
Ninja
not
Turtles.
Shredder. They had the one with the brain and like the brain like controlled things.
Oh no, I can't. I have no idea what you're talking about on this one.
Okay, I'm gonna have to look it up instead. What? Maybe it wasn't even Ninja Turtles. What was it? There was something where a brain controlled a robot,
There's a
and
bunch.
that's what every
Oh
time I see Modoc,
no, I know
that's what
what
I
you're
think
talking
of.
about. It wasn't Sonic. No, it
I
wasn't
don't know.
Sonic.
Apparently,
Oh my gosh, I can't remember.
it wasn't. No, it was cartoon. It was animated. I don't know why I'm thinking Ninja Turtles. All right.
God,
Okay, we'll
I
look
can't
into
remember.
Modoc.
Anyways, I know that there is a
Son of a
resurgence
bitch.
coming back that you were excited for, your kids not so much. What's coming back?
No. So Animaniacs is coming back, and they have paid for paid contracts, and they're zany to the max. So they're coming back on Hulu on November 20th. All the original voices are back.
We're taking
I
over
put
the
the trailer on for my
world.
kids. I thought it was hilarious. I was laughing aloud. At one point, one of the characters is like, "Oh, I can't wait to get back to the WB and see if my Hootie and the Blowfish
The
CD is done downloading on Napster."
WB.
And my 8-year old will regularly be like, "What are we doing today?" I go, "Trying to take over the world." Why do you always say that?
Okay, mom, but really, what are we doing today? Like, I had
Right.
plans later. What are we doing?
It's irrelevant. We're trying to take over the world. So that's pretty much my news. And Cobra Kai season 3, January 8th, 2021 on Netflix.
Yeah, I haven't watched Cobra Kai yet, but I keep seeing and hearing great things. And I met both main actors at MegaCon, which we were both at. We just didn't know it at the same
Right?
time.
We were there. We didn't even know each other existed.
We
We
still have
probably
never.
walked right by each other
We might have. Yeah, it'd be funny to see like you look back in pictures and then there one of us is like in the
in the
background.
background. Oh
But
man, that's
yeah,
my news.
now while you figure that out, we watched this week The Nightmare Before Christmas, which is there's a lot of debate. Is it a Christmas movie? Is it a Halloween movie? This is up there with the
No,
Die Hard
Tim
debate.
Burton has said it's a Halloween movie. He's come out and said
I see, I
there's no
respect it,
debate.
but I'm still gonna kind of watch it for both because
Oh,
it works as
absolutely.
both. And it is up there with, like I said, the Die Hard. Is it a Christmas movie debate? And yes, while Tim Burton says it's not, I think it can still work. Whereas Die Hard's a pure Christmas movie,
I was gonna say not a debate again. Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
which
Die
we
Hard
will
1 and
talk
2.
about Die Hard.
3, 4, 5, and 17 are not.
No, we don't count anything after Die Hard 1 and 2. Like you get John McClane, and then you get Samuel Jackson, and then that's
I
it.
like 3. I was gonna say Samuel L. Jackson, the third one. That's not a Christmas movie, but I like that one. It's a lot of puzzles. You have to think.
Okay, anything that's been made with Justin Long or any of them most recently do not count.
Oh, and he's in Jeepers Creepers, so we don't talk about that.
Jeepers Creepers is legit the one movie that scares the piss out of me. I don't know what it is,
Um,
but I will
when you
not
said that, it made me
drive
so happy
through
because
cornfields at night. Like I would not drive through the state of Nebraska at night. It was filmed in northern Florida, which I didn't realize at first, and I've driven
no,
northern
it's filmed
Florida
in
at night.
Central Florida, like not far from, not like an hour from my house.
Nonetheless,
We're
it's
moving
the
tomorrow because
scariest
of that.
movie to me. I don't know why, but when I watched it, I would not go to my friend's house at night. I would sprint the half mile, and I was like a fat piece of shit kid. Like I would dead ass sprint all 300 pounds of me up the street to my house because that movie scared the hell
Pretty
out of me.
sure I was legally an adult when that movie came out, and I did not even see the whole movie because my friend who I was watching it with goes, "Okay, keep your eyes closed. Oh, it's still pretty bad. Keep your eyes closed."
It's not even the goriness. It's I
And
can't
Brandy, I
explain
still
what it is. I can't
she loves that
explain.
shit. Well, she told me I should watch the second one, and I still
Oh, the
won't
second
do it
one's
because
cheesy, but you get more of
I won't.
the
You watched
creeper.
it?
I've seen all. There's three of them. I've watched all three. Of
Oh,
course I watch it. I'll try
nope,
anything twice, okay?
nope,
I
nope.
it scares me, but I will still watch it. However, I don't fondly revisit that movie.
All right, let's move back on to Die
Neither
Hard
here
Nightmare.
nor there. Nightmare Before Christmas. I first saw it as a kid. I don't remember the age I was. However, I know that my wonderful wife, I was like, the kids can watch it. She thinks that they have to wait till they're 7. Yeah, I'd have to agree because I guess it is kind of creepy in some aspects. And my daughter, she takes a look at a pumpkin right now and she breaks down freaking out. Like
Oh my goodness.
she cannot do anything Halloween. That poor child's gonna have PTSD after Saturday.
No,
But
no, my
yeah,
kids.
great movie. Halloween movie through and through. I watched it again this morning and it's such a good movie. Such a good movie.
It is.
And it
It's
kind of
amazing.
speaks to I guess the way I was feeling. I'm 30 now. I'm a wise man, and
So wise.
I sometimes with work I feel like I'm in a rut. I don't know what to do. Whereas Jack, he was in a rut. He didn't know what to do, and he went out and sought out. He found Christmas, and so he took over Christmas, and it didn't work out. But I'm taking over a new job, and maybe it'll work out. I hope it does. So it's a great movie.
All right. Well, I have a lot to say about it. So,
What do you have to say about that? I know this is probably your favorite movie, or if not top 5 of all time.
yes, it's
So
definitely in
what are
my
your
top five.
thoughts on the Nightmare Before Christmas?
Right. Yeah, it's up there with Lion King and
Oh, she put on
Goodfellas
her
and Endgame.
glasses.
I
Her
did
glasses are on. If you aren't watching, she threw the glasses on. She's got the Nightmare Before Christmas scarf on.
I
She's
do.
ready to go.
My kids even helped me decorate. I got some festive pumpkins and a Sally in the background, and I am drinking
There
out of a nightmare
is.
glass as well.
And we are drinking Nightmare Fuel. Fucking
Yes.
Jeepers Creepers, goddamn.
So this. Stop saying Jeepers Creepers.
Where'd you get
Okay.
those peepers?
No, that is forbidden in this house. You can ask my husband. He'll still try. Okay, so this movie came out October 13th, 1993. So Disney was actually concerned that this movie would freak out kids, so they released it under their adult film label, Touchstone Pictures, which I always found interesting. And the reason I thought that though is like my kids are introduced to Jack on their very first Halloween. Infants, I put this
Huh.
movie on, and none of them have ever been scared from it. And in the opening song, they even say this is Halloween, and they actually say verbatim, "Life's no fun without a good scare. That's our job, and we're not mean. This is our town of Halloween." So they flat out say like we're just trying to have fun. Life's just good with a
Right.
good scare. Every kid's different though. If your kid's scared of a pumpkin patch, maybe don't show them this movie. So for years they didn't even acknowledge this movie at the parks, at the Disney parks, and now Disneyland actually totally redoes the Haunted Mansion in Disneyland, not at Disney World where I live, in Disneyland. So we drove our asses out there, and it's fucking phenomenal. It's gorgeous. It's amazing. They do an amazing job. You can watch the whole run through on YouTube. Multiple people have filmed it. It's absolutely amazing. And in
Damn.
Orlando, when we have Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, the line for Jack and Sally is the longest line in the park. Um, in fact, we were dressed as the Nightmare Before Christmas. I was Sally, my husband Jack, my daughter Zero, my oldest was a witch. And we didn't even wait in the line because it was so long. But we did wait in the line when we were at Disneyland because it was shorter. Yeah, my default on my laptop still is Nightmare. So Tim Burton was busy with Batman, so he actually didn't direct it. It was Henry Selick. Danny Elfman wrote all of the songs, but he did not actually voice Jack talking. It was the dude from Princess Bride, the guy that was not
Oh yeah,
nice.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so it took 1 week to make 1 minute, and overall, it took 3 years to make this movie, and it's only 76 minutes long. Tim Burton came up with the idea because he was seeing in stores the Halloween decor coming up and the Christmas or coming down and the Christmas stuff going up. And in his head, he was like, what would happen if those two holidays combined? So he actually wrote a poem about it, which you can actually buy that poem now. It's in, you can buy it at like Barnes and Noble, and it has actual some of his drawings that he
Ooh.
envisioned these characters looking like with the poem. It's pretty good. I haven't bought it. We read it at Barnes and Noble because it's like $20, and
Fuck
it's
this. I'm not
expensive.
paying for it. We're just gonna sit here in the middle of
Right.
Barnes and Noble. We're gonna read this right now.
Exactly. Hey, they sell pumpkin spice lattes there.
Yes, they do. God damn it.
So even though they did not advertise that they were Disney, there were Disney nods. In fact, the duck and the mouse that they make all creepy and they like give to the kids are supposed to be Mickey and Donald. And the kids who receive those gifts, if you pay attention, their pajamas actually have Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck on them. So
Really?
that's fun.
Hmm.
All right. I personally do not remember how old I was or the first time I saw it. I just remember thinking I loved that at the beginning. I felt like it was Halloween. And then not long after, I felt like it was Christmas. I asked my mom, and she's like, I think we saw it in the theater. I don't remember. But in 2007, it did get released in 3D. And I remember taking my daughter at the time had just turned 4. And so I remember taking her to see it in the theater with the 3D glasses. And actually, some of the theaters now have it in theaters because what else are they going to do?
Yeah, because
All right.
movies don't exist anymore.
Right. So, do you have any opinions before I go into my long rant why this is the best movie ever?
No, I watched it again today, and like I said, my wife is like, "So what is your favorite scene of this?" And at first I was like, "Okay, my favorite scene is when he's crashing and burning in the Santa sleigh." But then I remembered the scientific scene where he gets back and he's really trying to dissect the science
Love that.
behind
Yes. It's
Christmas.
adorable.
And I kind of can relate to that in the fact that why do we love this or what made this great? And you're really dissecting it and trying to figure out why. And I completely forgot that scene. And they're a minute. Jack's been gone a minute, and they're freaking out. And this whole movie
Mm-hmm.
is just amazing. There's it's at face value, maybe not a lot, but there really is a deep. Like again, Jack's stuck in a rut. He does the same thing year after year. They
Mm-hmm.
rely on him. Well, he wants something deeper, and so he goes out and finds it. And there's a deeper
Right.
meaning to it. So it is a great movie. I'm interested to see what else you do have to say about it because you love this movie
I
way more than I do.
do.
I love it, but you love it way more than I do.
To me, this movie starts the Halloween season and it ends the Christmas season in our house. Um, my 3-year-old calls it Jackie. He started calling it Jackie last year. Okay, so this movie isn't just about a skeleton stealing Christmas. Jack is not the Grinch at all. The Grinch had, he had animosity towards the holiday. Jack doesn't. He has almost like jealousy of the holiday. Like you said, he's trying
Yeah,
to scientifically explain what that feeling you get when you're watching Elf and you see Santa fly, or that feeling you get when you smell all the Christmas trees. He's trying to scientifically explain that feeling. So it's about a character who is in a rut. He feels like something is missing from his life and he can't figure out what. He's sick of doing the same thing every year and he just feels like it's all pointless. Then he kind of stumbles upon
can
Christmas Town,
relate.
and in sheer amazement of what he is seeing and especially what he is feeling, he is so baffled that he attempts to scientifically explain what those feelings were that Christmastown gave him. So he also tries to share it with the town. He's like, and obviously, even with this podcast, we feel that it's like we love this so much. We want you to experience this because we want you to like the boys is so good. You
Right.
have to watch it. You have to feel what I'm feeling. It's so amazing. So he calls a town hall meeting or whatever. So he then attempts to kidnap Santa Claus or Sandy Claus to take over Christmas, but he had no malice in that intent. He honestly thought, like, one, this is what I've been looking for. This will give me purpose because he was a little bit depressed. And two, okay, I'm giving Santa a much needed break. This is a lot of work. He deserves a break. You kids be nice to Santa Claus, is what he tells the trick or treaters.
Sandy Claus. You don't have
Santa
claws.
Claus. And three, he can do this better than anybody. So what happens? Unfortunately, he fails miserably, or fortunately. But does he give up and go home after he's shot out of the sky? No, he does not. He has a self realization moment, and that he didn't need to change things up. He just needed to be reminded of how awesome he already is and what a kick ass pumpkin king he is. He needed like revitalization of like, okay, yes, I'm feeding these kids every day and I'm just doing laundry, but like, dude, these fucking kids are awesome. Like, that was a metaphor for anybody who's a stay at home mom. And when he rips off that Sandy Claus suit, it's my favorite part. Like, I'm Jack, the
A
Pumpkin
pumpkin
King.
king.
Yeah.
Yo,
And
look at
I
those
just can't
guns.
wait
She was
until next
flexing on us.
Halloween. It's an amazing scene. Um, but yeah, but I do love the scientific explaining thing. So, but when he realizes he fucks up, it's not just, oh, I fucked up. Well, that sucks. Let me try again next year. I'm amazing at Halloween. No, I need to save Christmas. And he's like, Sandy Claus. And he goes and he finds Santa Claus so Santa can make it all better, which Santa
It's like,
always makes it
hey,
all
my
better.
bad, man. Yeah, I kind of messed up. Ugh.
Exactly. And Santa, he seems angry, but he fixes everything and he comes back because he realized Jack had good intentions and that's why
Yeah.
he makes it snow in Halloween Town. And with the Sandy Claus thing, I've seen this movie a million times, and every time I watch it, I see something new. And I didn't realize until I was an adult the reason he calls him Sandy Claus is when he's doing the ho ho ho, and you see the shadow, and his
Mm-hmm.
fingers look long like claws. I did not realize that the first 75 times I watched the movie.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
one of
mean,
like the things I picked up on. I was like, oh yeah, duh.
yeah, exactly. But also, there's some people that have an issue where they don't like how he treats Sally, which that's Catherine O'Hare. So shout out to her because she's awesome. That's Kevin McAllister's
Mm-hmm.
mom or Schitt's Creek, Beetlejuice. She's awesome. She plays Sally and she plays the witch, which is Shock. They're Shock,
Well,
Lock, and
I
Barrel.
feel like he doesn't even realize that she's into him until like later
The
on. He's
end.
oblivious to it.
Yep, he's completely oblivious. But at the same time, she was the only one that she had this vision. She knew that this Christmas thing wasn't going to end well. She tried to stop it. He was all hyped up on his game and didn't realize.
God, this
And
is
then
a
when
metaphor for my life.
he realized, he's like, "Oh my God, Sally, I'm so sorry. You were right all along. You're amazing. We're simply meant to be." And then they hug on the hill. And I mean, Blink 182 even made a song about it.
We
We
can
can
live
live
like
like
Jack
Jack
and
and
Sally if you
Sally.
want. We can have Halloween
We
on
can have
Christmas.
Halloween on Christmas. Yes,
Oh God! And
it's
suddenly it's
amazing.
2003, and I'm in my feelings again.
Oh God, 2003. I had a kid that year. It was a rough year.
I was 13. Now hold on.
I was 13.
I was going to be in high school.
Yeah.
Blink
Well,
22.
I was a junior in undergrad.
Well,
So that's my
yes.
consensus on Nightmare.
Yeah, Nightmare Before Christmas. I mean, it's just one of the staples where you see it everywhere. Go to your hot topic. God, first of all, if you're,
You're hot
like
topical if you watch
um
Supernatural.
if you're like me and you're stuck in 2005, you go to hot topic still. Um
I go to Hot Topic regularly.
I mean, you can find anything there, but yeah, it's all over. It's become a pop culture staple to where you don't think of Halloween without seeing some form of Jack Skellington, Sally, anything like that. Go to Spirit of Halloween. They have a whole section for Hocus Pocus and Nightmare Before Christmas. So all that's around. You don't see a lot of costumes, but I mean, there are
No,
some
no,
out
you
there.
do.
I haven't seen a
There's
lot of
lots now.
costumes.
Well, when we did years ago, I actually had to make the zero costume for my daughter. I bought like a ballet
Mm-hmm.
um, tutu, and then I made dog ears and whatnot, and painted a little pumpkin on her nose. But you are starting to see them now, and like I have a Sally dress.
Mm-hmm.
My husband has a Jack shirt. So you're seeing them more, but they were
That's a
very.
lie. He doesn't wear shirts. So
No, yeah, it was funny. It was on our happy hour earlier tonight. They were making comments about my husband not wearing a
he
shirt, and then
painted it on.
he literally walked by like 10 minutes after that with no shirt, and I was like, "Do you want to get on?"
He doesn't wear shirts. So he
No,
painted on
he
a Jack
doesn't wear
Skellington
shirts,
shirt.
but when we leave the
Um
house, he does.
He just paints
But no,
everything
it
on.
used to be even, I used to make a lot of nightmare decor because you couldn't buy, I'd buy white
I mean,
pumpkins and paint
yeah,
them.
I have a white
And now
pumpkin.
they sell that shit.
They do, and you're like, God damn. Well, first of all, you either pay overpriced or you just make it yourself
Hmm.
at cheaper. But yeah, this movie, amazing, amazing. Next week we're going to talk more about horror movies, but this one needed its own episode because it is such a staple into our pop culture life. Moving on from that, we have one last piece. If you haven't seen the finale of The Boys, peace out, Girl Scout. See you
Phenomenal.
later. We don't know when we're getting to season 3, but the
I
season
heard they started
finale.
filming.
Oh, they started filming, huh? Okay. Well, I
That's
have
what
a
I
little.
heard from my comic book guy.
So, what I know from the news that I was going to talk about earlier is TV Guide sat down and kind of interviewed the showrunner there, and he mentioned number one that Soldier Boy knows Stormfront from when she was Liberty, and he was also considered the John Wayne of Vought. So they're going to kind of explore Vought's history in season 3. Um, Huey, as you saw at the end of this
I love
episode,
that.
he started working for Newman, Congresswoman Newman, who is the head
Newman.
exploder. She's the fucking head exploder, man. She was working on the inside the whole time.
She
He's
probably
gonna be,
used to work for the post office, I'm sure.
I mean, probably. She's gonna be he's gonna be working for the Federal Bureau of Superhuman Affairs. Stormfront's also not dead. Um, Kripke has mentioned that she just can't regenerate, so she's just kind of hidden away. They might explore her in the
Hmm.
future. We don't know.
So
Basically,
she's not.
she's
I figured she had to be regenerative. How can you live that
no,
long and not have stuff
she's
happen?
basically Anakin Skywalker.
Right.
She
Oh,
is
I've seen some of the memes. They're pretty good.
he referred to her as Stumpfront instead of Stormfront now. So,
That's good.
but yeah, Huey, he becomes close to Newman in season 3, and he's very smart. And of course, it's all going to go to shit. Maeve is the only one who's really uneasy about their new formed alliance as the Seven. So at the end, Starlight, Maeve, A Train all join the Seven again. But Homelander is blackmailed, and so of course that's going to go to shit as well. Um,
Oh,
the
definitely.
the end scene there where
That's gonna
Homeland,
explode.
well, that leads in segue, Homelander beating his Homelander self on top of the rooftop was actually filmed in season 1, but Amazon wouldn't let them use it, and so they must have let them finally use it. So
They're
that was
probably
supposed to,
like nobody cares anymore. The show
right.
was great.
It was originally filmed after what's her name there kind of put him in his place, and so he went to the top of the roof, is like, I can do whatever I want. He's literally jerking off onto the city. But this episode was great. I wasn't expecting Becca to die. She died. Homelander,
I was,
it's
yeah.
all the memes. Speaking of the memes, it's like the the dog dad doesn't want, and then it's like the dog and the dad, and they're like cuddled up. So it's like the son Homelander didn't want, or Butcher didn't want, and now they're like cuddle up on the bank. So from what I've heard, he represents Becca and all the good that she is, and Stormfront got toasted. The best part was the scene where the female Maeve and Starlight are just beating the fuck out of Stormfront,
Hmm.
and yeah, really great episode. It's a really great finale. It sucks that it's over already. It kind of was really
I know.
fast.
Yeah. No, yeah, I did love the scene when they were beating the shit out of Stormfront, and Frenchie's like, "I guess the girls are
Girls
really tough get this
do.
done."
They
I
did. They
think I
beat her.
laughed a
They beat
lot
her
at that
ass.
for a few minutes.
There was never any
I did
tension. They
love
just
that scene.
straight just whooped her ass. And I was like, all right, we're doing
Right.
this. Hell yeah, let's go.
Well, even like the bad guy and the good, powerful people were all females, and the dudes are literally just watching. And then Frenchie's line was just perfect. Yeah, that was amazing.
But
Um, but yeah, the Homelander thing, I feel like it's like, with season one, Kripke has said he had to like push for the whole dolphin scene, like asking the deep to jerk him off
yeah,
or whatever. And I mean, I feel like once Prime's seen that they had a huge following, they're like, just go for it. That's fine. If he wants to jerk off
they're
on
like,
the
you know
whole
what?
city,
We don't
that's all
care.
right.
We have a literal Nazi on our show right now, so
Right.
just whatever.
I
You don't seem
love what some of that she says. She's like, "Oh, you guys just hate that word Nazi, but you like what I'm for." It's like, whoa.
a lot of. iterations to today's society, so maybe in
Yeah,
America.
it's crazy.
The best part was when she basically started talking about white genocide to Ryan, and
Mm-hmm.
Homelander was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Hold on, the fuck,
Right.
what?"
Yeah, those moments you get where Homelander's like, okay, Becca, he's right. He needs to be exposed to reality. He's gonna hate you, and like, and again, Homelander's like, it's like, okay, he has
She's
some
a little
humanity in
extreme.
him, yeah.
I
But
mean,
and they were
Anthony
even
Starr is phenomenal as an actor. He is
he
such a
is,
he's
yeah.
amazing.
But they were even talking about it inside the boys. It's like he has all the actual psychological symptoms of a child who wasn't loved, where he
Yeah,
can't build relationships. But part of him is still like, whoa, you're going too far. White genocide. Because and I said in the last episode, I don't think he gives a shit what color people
he
are
thinks
or what
all
they
people are
are.
beneath
He just
him.
thinks he's exactly they're all equally beneath him, and he doesn't
Right.
give a shit about anything else.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree. And so even that was like, whoa, too far, dude. And
yeah,
it was a
and
great episode.
the Kamiko scene laughing that was
Oh yeah, she just
interesting.
bust
Yeah.
out laughing. It's like, hold on, in this tense moment, she's just like bursting out laughing. It was great.
Well, it's interesting too because I believe in the comics. I think I haven't gotten to this part, but I think I heard from Hop Heroes Pod that she doesn't talk because her tongue was cut out or something. But in the
Oh.
show, she said it's more like a psychological thing. So I don't think she'd be able to laugh like that if her tongue
No,
wasn't
yeah,
cut
if she
out.
didn't
I
have if
don't
she
know.
had no tongue, she definitely wouldn't be able to laugh like that. So it must be. I mean, there's differences in the show, and next season, whenever
But
we
it's
do get
coming
it next
full
season,
circle
yeah,
where
whenever we
they're
do
like
get it
now
next season,
funded by
by
the
the
oh
CAA.
yeah, oh, we're definitely getting a next season.
Well, I mean, we are. I'm curious to see how many seasons they will go because at this point, everybody knows each other's shit. And, um, I mean, Butcher
It
kind of
could go
walked
for a
away. He
while.
did say that. I mean, he didn't say it, but he walked away like, "Nah, I'm out," kind of deal. But Huey's pulled in. Mother's Milk got reunited with the kids, so there's a lot of like brief happiness that you get to see, and that's all gonna get torn apart.
But the fact that the comic has even come back today, like very new,
Yeah,
I mean, I think they did that for obvious reasons that it's gotten popular and people will pick up the comic, but it also gives them more storyline to work on in the show should they choose to continue it. Or maybe
yeah.
10 years in the future like Dexter, but I don't anticipate this ever ending horrific.
This
I
isn't gonna
mean,
end. Nobody, Homelander's not gonna go be a lumberjack. Let's just end that right there.
right. Let's leave that for Wolverine.
Yeah. So
Worst.
overall,
Okay, Dexter's seriously worst ending ever. Worst ending ever. I'm
no.
giving it to it. Can you think of a worse? What,
Yeah,
Lost?
it's called Game of Thrones.
No.
No, Game of
Dexter was
Thrones is
so
way
much
worse.
worse.
Game of Thrones is way worse because nothing that any of the characters did in Game of Thrones made any sort of sense. And I'm gonna die on the hill that Game of Thrones was the worst ending of a TV show of all time. And I'm a How I Met Your
Oh,
Mother fan.
Dexter was worse. Oh, How I Met Your Mother was
It was
terrible.
awful. That's like my
Terrible
Friends.
ending.
That's
Yeah.
my version of Friends right there. I love How I Met Your Mother, and
That makes sense since you were 13 when I had my oldest.
you were
Yeah,
literally
Friends.
6, 7 years, not even 7 years older than me. So
Right. Yeah. No, I was 20 when she was born. You were 13. The math adds up. Math
look,
makes
it's
sense.
it's all good.
No, How I Met Your Mother was god awful. But I still stick with Dexter being the worst ending ever. Worse than
Nope.
Lost, worse
How I
than Game
Met
of
Your Mother,
Thrones,
or
worse than
I'm
How I
sorry,
Met Your
Game of
Mother.
Thrones is the worst, and that's just our
No.
opinions. I'll argue this all night. Um,
One day we'll have that
one
episode.
day we're gonna have that episode. It is saved. It's in the bank. However, we might have overstayed our welcome on here. I
Womp, womp,
definitely
womp.
have drank a lot of beers over the night because this is our second show of the night. Look at that. I feel like we're somebody. We're people now. Second show of the night, baby. Even though nobody
Well,
listens.
you are. My mom listens.
And that's all that
Hi,
matters.
mom.
Shout out to Hoppy's mom.
Right.
She's such a nice lady. I love her. Can't wait to meet you one day.
Such a nice lady. A
Um,
lady.
she's just a lady. Yeah. So Wednesday
Hey,
nights.
lady.
Hey you, I
I
got
know.
family back east, as Bill Burr would say.
What is that from? Hey, lady. Is that
Oh,
Animaniacs? Maybe it is.
maybe,
I
Maybe.
still need to figure out who this brain cartoon is. Somebody's listening to us and they're like, motherfucker, it's from
They
this
want to
show.
punch us so bad.
I
Yeah.
feel like it's Shredder.
No, it's not
Why do I
Shredder.
think it's Shredder?
I know what you're talking about. Maybe we're talking about two different things. There's just multiple brain. I don't know.
There's
Um,
multiple brain cartoons.
God bless. I've said 80 times. Catch us Wednesdays. If you search Hops News on all of the podcast platforms that you listen to a podcast on, you will find us. Um, other than that, Hoppy Hours Thursday night on the Hops News YouTube, youtube.com/Hops News, or facebook.com/Hops News. Catch us there. Instagram, Hops Geek News. My personal, Matthew Tyler. Um, what do you got for us?
I'm still looking for this brain that controls.
She's
Oh,
gonna
here
find
it is.
it.
Here it is. Krang. No, yes. Yes,
Kang?
it is Ninja Turtles. It is Ninja Turtles.
Well, it's not
Because he's
Shredder.
no, but he's talking to Shredder. It is Ninja Turtles.
So what's the
And
name?
he's in and it doesn't look like a robot. Um son of a bitch. He's just the I thought he was just the brain. Krang.
Post a picture. I need a picture. I
Krang.
need a picture on the socials.
All right, hold on. On
So
the social.
be sure to check us out. We had, again, shout out to Pontoon Brewing, who was our unofficial sponsor. It looks like a penguin through the screen. I have no idea who that is. No idea.
You don't remember he would like control like the computer or whatever?
I don't know how I don't remember
He's
that.
talking to Shredder, and sometimes he would not be in it. It was 100% Ninja Turtles. I feel so much better about my life right now.
Listen, guys, we know things.
It was Krang. Krang.
Not to be
And
confused
if we
with
don't
Kang.
know, now we know.
Oh, Ice Cube,
Oh,
you
and there's
sell
April
out.
O'Neil. Okay. I knew it. I knew it was Ninja Turtles.
Shout out to all our
Cheers.
fans. Cheers. Thank you for joining us. Catch us Hops Geek News on the Instagram. Hops News is what you'll search on the YouTube and the podcasting platforms. Shout out to all my homies. Bye.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.